there's a lot to unpack up there in New York with the Jets. And I mean a lot. And is it really new? Is it really surprising? But if you guys didn't see the news a couple days ago, Robert Saleh fired. Done. And everyone's going, oh, wait a minute. It's got to be Aaron Rodgers doing. Well, Aaron Rodgers then went on and talked about it on the Pat McAfee show about he was in some ways just offended that was the accusations, and also talks about how he doesn't have as much pull as people thinks he does. So let's play that clip, Brad.
As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't. But I love Robert, and it was, one of those days yesterday.
So there's that. And I know a lot of people, might not believe in Aaron Rodgers. They don't like sometimes the aura of Aaron Rodgers. But also, I think the other part that I think is a good thing to understand is that I don't think Woody Johnson was a big Robert Saleh fan.
No.
At all.
Well, the guy's got limited time on this earth. He's just trying to win.
He's trying
to
win.
He's what, 85?
And the Jets haven't won in a long time.
Yeah.
But in the process of it, right, that he wasn't as involved in the hiring process of Robert Saleh. And Adam Schefter actually will take it a step further here. Adam Schefter explains a little bit more about this move, and then we'll just talk about the Jets debacle in general.
Do the folks need to know? I think that Aaron Rodgers came off believable there. And I think that this is a Woody Johnson decision. And there are people who believe that Woody Johnson was not a big fan of Robert Saleh. That is ultimately what did him in the end. Basically, if we go back to when he was hired, Christopher Johnson was running the organization while he was the ambassador over in the UK. And he came back and got to meet the new head coach of the Jets that he signed off on. But I don't know that Robert Saleh ever felt the support that he felt like he should have gotten from the owner. And I don't know that Woody Johnson ever provided it to him in a certain way. And I think this is a Woody Johnson decision, not an Aaron Rodgers decision. This is Woody Johnson. And the big thing is that's behind them, Greeny. Now the idea is, where do they go from here? Who is running the offense? Is it Nathaniel Hackett with the offense looking sluggish the way it has?
Orlovsky is, as you're talking, Orlovsky is frantically shaking his head.
32nd ranked rushing offense in the NFL, or is Jeff Ulbrich, as the interim head coach who's replaced Robert Saleh, going to turn to Todd Downing to run this offense? That is what awaits this team that many people believe is still a playoff team. Robert Saleh himself believes this team is a playoff team, and now we'll see if they can get that done. Dan.
That's where I would start. I would make a change at play caller. I would move from Nathaniel Hackett and go to Todd Downing, understanding that the relationship with Aaron Rodgers matters. They got to play better football. Number one, this is one of the least detailed offenses in the NFL over the past couple weeks. And two, all they do is string together mistakes rather than makes as an offense. So they have to stop taking turns ruining plays.
So first off, them just keeping the camera on Dan while he's grabbing. I know I just got my Deep Eddy vodka here, but if it was just grabbing the coffee, and I thought he was gonna get up and make a point or something.
Very clearly Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
And Dunkin' Donuts just sitting there, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that is messing with this."
No, it has everything to do with the branding.
Oh, 1,000%.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, oh, whoop, sorry. Oh, yeah, they need to get rid of the play call.
That whole bit was about as dysfunctional as the Jets right now.
Yep. So and that's a good way to describe it, right? So here's the thing. They just mentioned that who's calling the plays, Hackett or Downing. Well, it was described today that Todd Downing is now calling the plays, but Hackett is still the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So do we play that clip of them talking about it? Let's play that clip. Bolberg talking about it.
Time to think about it, and did not make this decision easily by any means. I'm going to make Todd Downing the play caller for the New York Jets going forward. And this is more a byproduct of a different take on things. I'm not saying it's a better or worse take on things by any means, but just a different take on things, a fresh approach. So ultimately, Todd will have the full say on the game plan and ultimately the plays that are called within the game.
Okay. So a lot to kind of dive into here. So Hackett is a Rodgers guy, right? I think that
Yes.
move was brought in
Yes.
because Hackett was in Green Bay. Rodgers and Hackett have a great relationship. So there's that. But there's just so much going on right now. And Zach, maybe you can pull up the stats that the Jets offense is currently at the moment. It's not very good. I know what teams are below them. You can look up the exact stat. So I was looking at their total team offense. They have to change something.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense is only better on a per yard standpoint per game than the Chargers, the Titans, the Patriots, and the top echelon Cleveland Browns. I can't say that seriously.
The Broncos. They're ahead of the Broncos.
I said the Broncos, didn't I?
No, you start with Chargers.
Okay. Well, okay. My bad. So a lot of these prolific offenses, but they're behind teams like the Bears, the Panthers, the Raiders, the Steelers. So you guys get where I'm going with this. I just feel like it's constant disarray for the New York Jets. I feel bad for their fans. I really do. But you know the crazier thing in all this? Seems like the world's ending. If the Jets win on Monday night, they're in first place.
Yeah. That's the Bills still have a chance to not make the playoffs this year. And the Jets could actually win the division. That's the mind-blowing part. And that is wild, by the way. Just looking at stats as Zach was pulling them up. The ground game has struggled quite a bit with only 402 rushing yards total in the last 5 weeks, ranking last in the NFL. We just got to talk about how Derrick Henry ran 400 yards in 2 weeks. Yep. And the entire rushing offense, not just one guy, the entire rushing offense, 402 yards.
That's good. It's really good. Zach, you got any other stats over there?
No, I was actually going to bring up the rushing just because you thought that, Rodgers being back, that's going to take so much pressure off Breece Hall. They went out there, they got Simpson, they got Morgan Moses, who's obviously dealing with some injuries. But it just felt like for how much hype. Remember, people were talking about the Jets being the team to beat in the AFC. That team was they were going to win, go 14-3 and stuff. But Ryan, as you said, it's complete dysfunction. It's complete disarray. You're sitting there going, is this team can they even win another game? But if they win Monday, they're in first place. And all of a sudden you're sitting there going, why can't it be the Jets? So the talent's there. But I will say, I don't think this is necessarily an offensive coordinator or a head coach problem. I think it needs to start with the quarterback playing better.
They're averaging 18. First of all, I agree with you on the quarterback situation. They're averaging 18.6 points per game, which is 25th in the NFL. And for a guy like Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall, you would think to be putting up a whole lot more than that.
Yeah. Everything's just off, and it does take time for things to click. And you got to keep in mind, this isn't Aaron Rodgers before the Achilles or when he was an MVP type player. This is an Aaron Rodgers coming back from an Achilles injury with a new offense, trying to figure it out. And who knows what that level is going to be. It's only through 5 weeks, right? But what we do know is Allen Lazard has made more of an impact than Garrett Wilson until last game. They can't run the football very well, and they're making a lot more penalties. This is what we're talking about for the Jets. Of saying, hey, could they turn it around? They could. But if you're a Jets fan, I'm very sorry. I'm about to read off these stats. Since 2010 was their last playoff appearance, right? They've had one winning season from 2011 till now, where they were 10-6 in 2015. Okay, just missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have a combined record, if I have my math again correct here, of 81 and 137 since their last playoff appearance in 2010. So I hope the best for them. I hope it turns around here. Shirts and pants, man, it has not been pretty for the New York Jets. But the thing is, that division is truly up for grabs. The Bills are not as I think the Bills got a lot more problems right now. And I just saw that James Cook isn't practicing again. That's hurting the fantasy thoughts here for me.
Yeah. Who would have thought that butt fumble Mark butt fumble Sanchez would have been a Jets legend? He was the last one to actually make the playoffs for the Jets.
Which I do want to point out, that was the Mark Sanchez in some alternate universe, he's the face of the NFL and all things are right in the world, because if you have the nickname the Sanchez and you play in New York, you should have been the greatest of all time.